Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Laurel Dessar, and I will be your host for the session. Today's topic is accelerating innovation and business intelligence with a hybrid integration platform. And this will be presented by Mr. Osama Mohsin, Pre-Sales Manager, Bahuan Cybertech TIBCO. As I welcome Osama on board and invite him to kickstart the webinar, let me share a little bit more about your presenter. Mr. Osama Mohsin is an integration pre-sales manager at Bahuan Cybertech TIBCO, with more than 20 years experience in digital technology and transformation experience across numerous industries, including telecommunications, utilities, oil and gas, and banking, to name a few. Mr. Mohsin is an integration expert when it comes to hybrid integration cloud architecture, microservices, and application modernization. He holds various technology certifications, including CKA, CKAD, TIBCO BusinessWorks, and many more. Osama has enabled numerous organizations to reach their digital destinations through large technology transformation projects across the Middle East and North Africa. Osama, it is our absolute pleasure to have you with us today, and we look forward to your webinar. Just a little housekeeping before we hand over to Mr. Mohsin. The webinar will be approximately 45 minutes to 1 hour. If you have any questions during the presentation, please do type them into the question box in your Zoom control panel below. As the moderator, I will bring them up post the session, and we will also have time for any additional questions at the end of the presentation. I kindly request you all to keep your microphones muted whilst the session is in progress to avoid any background noise or disruption. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to accelerate innovation and business intelligence with TIBCO's hybrid integration. Over to you, Osama.
Hi, L'Oreal. Thank you so much for this great introduction. Hi, everyone in the webinar. Thank you for having the time to attend today's webinar. As L'Oreal highlighted, today's session is only about TIBCO hybrid integration platform. During this maybe hour, we will be seeing how TIBCO is looking at the integration, what's TIBCO philosophy when it comes to application integration, and we will maybe see all the innovation that TIBCO was working on for the last couple of years when it comes to application integration. So let's start. This is the normal disclaimer slide that we always have in all our presentations. From the agenda perspective, we will start with a few slides where we focus about why hybrid integration platform, why everybody is talking about hybrid integration platforms. And we will understand from business perspective, all the features that we are looking at, all the business use cases that we are trying to fulfill as part of the hybrid integration platform. And we will look at it also from the technical perspective, how this hybrid integration platform will help us accelerate and provide the best solutions that we are working on. Then we will have some slides where we will talk more about TIBCO hybrid integration platform and spend some time on it. At the end, we will have some time for question and answer. So as L'Oreal highlighted, if you have any question during the presentation, please feel free to share them with L'Oreal. And then we will make sure that we will answer them at the end of this webinar. So as you may already know, TIBCO was one of the pioneers when it comes to application integration. This is what TIBCO was working in since TIBCO has been founded, running the most critical mission applications and the customer production environment, building this service bus that everybody used to ask for, allowing applications to integrate with each other through this virtualized service bus that we have in the middle, allowing the application to talk to each other without they know the location for the other application or the other service, without they need to know about the technology that has been used behind the other application. All what the customer used to know about is the location for this service or for this application and this service bus that we have in the middle. So this is what TIBCO was delivering for the last, I'll say maybe 20 or 25 years. However, going forward, we have seen a lot of changes in the customers and in the customer experience. So the way how we used to do things are becoming different. So if we look at the retail business, for example, there's a big changes going on in the retail business. So it's not anymore where a person or a family will go to a supermarket at the end of the week, where they will bring all the things that they want to have from that place. Then they collect things, they go to the queue, then they pay and they go home. We are talking about a new experience that everyone started asking for. So nowadays we've seen a lot of people are going and exploring the different websites available in the market in order to get the items that they are looking after. And they look at the item, they look at the reviews that they are available in those items, then they decide on which item they want to buy. So there's a big shift in the customer experience across different industries. So this is what we can see in the retail business. If you look at the banking sector, there's also a lot of changes going on over there. So it's not anymore where a customer will go to the branch in order to apply for a loan or in order to open a bank account or to have maybe a bank statement or maybe apply for a credit card. People, they can apply for all these things that we are talking about through different channels exposed from those different backend systems. The same thing when it goes to airlines. So it's not anymore where people will go to a travel agent in order to book a flight ticket. So people, they can do all those things through those channels that they are exposed from those back-end systems. So we are talking about a new business use cases that customers are asking for. And in order to do that, the integration has to evolve also in order to serve those changes that we are talking about. So from a technology perspective, from an integration perspective, it's not anymore where people are only focusing about service bus that we have in the middle. So TIBCO was one of the best people who we always used to do these type of things where we replaced the spaghetti architecture that most of the customers that we have, they used to have. We allow them to allow applications and services to talk to each other through this service bus that we have in the middle and to provide the best quality that they are asking more. So nowadays, the requirement that we see in the market where people, they want to break up this service bus to a multi-microservices architecture and allow those services to run independently so they can easily scale up and scale down based on the demand that they are receiving. Allow these services to be attached to one of those APIs microservices so we can control the service, how we expose those services, allows us to maybe apply some sort of additional security in the top of those services, allows us to monitor those services in a better way and capture all the things that are happening on those services. We also witnessed a big change in the application development as well. So it's not anymore about having a J2EE architecture approach where people are asking only for MVC architecture maybe. We have seen a lot of changes in the market. So we've seen customers are asking how they can build a cloud native application, how they can allow their application to run on containers, how they can allow their applications and services to be an API centric for all the different services and APIs in order to consume them, how we can support continuous integration and continuous development and continuous deployment, how we can provide a self-service capabilities for the people who are using our environment in order for them to apply those sort of integration where we are talking about simple integrations that we are trying to build. So there's a big changes that we see in the market for the last couple of years. And when we talk about those type of changes, a lot of customers, they would like to hear about from Gartner and Forrester's and other analyst firms, their opinion and their perspective about what we are talking about. And here we can see some of the quotes that we got from Gartner and Forrester's about their perspective and how they are looking at the hybrid integration platform or at the pervasive integration, the word that Gartner likes to call it when it comes to hybrid integration platform. So here in this slide, we can see that Gartner in 2018, they have clearly highlighted in one of their reports that there will be no digital business without a solid underlying integration infrastructure and a pervasive integration thinking. So they are saying that they are preparing the market that we are talking about a new type of integration platforms. The same thing also came out from Forrester's in another report where they have highlighted that integration landscape has been changed from a point-to-point integration to a more varied landscape that includes a cloud for systems and of engagement and systems of insights. So there is a lot of changes that we are talking about. And also we have seen that Foresters, they went in another step further where they started releasing specific report where they were talking about hybrid integration platforms. So this is one of the reports that Foresters released last year in 2019, where they were evaluating vendors and classifying integration vendors when it comes to hybrid integration capabilities and the features and the capabilities that we should have as part of such type of products. And as you can see, TIBCO is one of the leaders when it comes to Foresters classifications and Foresters requirements, how they are looking at the hybrid integration platforms capabilities. We also seen we also saw some information coming out from Gartners where they were emphasizing on the hybrid integrations platforms and the capabilities that we should have over there. So before 2 years, they clearly Gartner said that by 2022, at least 65% of a large and the global organization will have implemented a hybrid integration platforms. So that's their expectation. And actually, we started seeing that heavily in the market nowadays. Also, in another article, they said that by 2020, more than 50 of enterprises will run a mission-critical application in a container cloud native application. And we have already seen this as well in the market with all the conversation that we have with our customers, with all the conversation that we have with our partners. Everyone is asking about cloud native application. Everyone is asking about container orchestration platforms. What's our vision when it comes to container orchestration platform? What's our offering when it comes to container orchestration platform? And how do we provide a cloud native application? How do we allow the organization to be able to scale up and scale down based on the demand that they are receiving? And by the way, this is not only limited with specific industries. This is applicable in all the industries that we see in the market. This is the conversation that we always have with all our telecom customers, with all our airlines customers, with all our banking customers, with all our people who work in the government sector as well. So this is a huge topic that everybody started looking at. And also, we have seen that in 2018, also Gartner, they've clearly highlighted by 2020, the number of applications using serverless function paths will be double the number that was available in 2017. That's why we see a lot of the big players when it comes to public cloud providers are working heavily in the fast capability and how they can provide function as a service for the services that the customers are asking for. And as for TIBCO, we have the tools and the services and the technology that will allow you to run your services on such type of infrastructure. So the point that we are talking about, the new integration platform that we are talking about, we are looking for an integration platform that will allow us to scale up and scale down very quickly. We don't know as a service provider, as a banking sector, for example, or as a telecom, or as a government, we don't know which service we will need to scale up and which service we need to scale down at any point of time. That's why we want to make sure that all our services, all our infrastructure have the right setup, have all the needs, all the infrastructure that it needs in order to support such type of scalability and reliability whenever we need it. And also the customers that we are dealing with, they are talking about the ability to innovate, the ability to adapt quickly to the new changes that we see in the market. So we don't know at what time we will need to release this service. We don't know at what time we need to update this service. And you don't know at what time we need to maybe roll out or roll providing new services to our customers. That's why we need to make sure that we have the right tool that we are working on that will allow us to focus in the business logic only. As a service provider, as maybe someone who works in the government, or someone who works in the banking sector, or someone who works in the telecom or airline sector, you don't need to worry about maybe providing how to do these things from a technology perspective. You need to make sure that you have the right integration platform that will serve all the integration needs that you might have today and in the future as well. You need to make sure that you are partnering with the right integration vendor, that he keeps innovate, he keeps providing the best technology that you might be looking after in order to serve all the new services that you are willing to build as part of your infrastructure. And the question that you may have right now is, what's a TIBCO hybrid integration platform? What are the capabilities that we should have, that we already have as part of TIBCO hybrid integration platform? And in this slide, we try to summarize TIBCO hybrid integration platform from a functionality perspective. What do we have as part of this hybrid integration platform? So as part of that, we have our core integration solution, which is BusinessWorks, where we allows all the complex integration processes to be built as part of that. And that solution, the solutions that we are building, we will allow you to deploy them on any operating system that you have in mind, whether this operating system is deployed on a virtual machine, whether it's deployed in a physical machine, whether it's deployed maybe on one of those in one of those machines available as part of the public cloud providers. So we have this integration platform that has been available there for the last 20 years or more. We also have our container edition of this platform, where we allows you to deploy your services in container orchestration platforms. So that's what we are doing. And one of the nice things that TIBCO was doing for the last, I'll say, couple of years. So in TIBCO, in 2013, TIBCO, they have done huge changes as part of their integration platforms, where they were always focusing on making their runtime environment much more smaller and smaller and smaller. So, and they were preparing themselves to deploy their services in a container orchestration platform. So the runtime environment that we are talking about is really small, and that will allow them to scale up and scale down very quickly based on the demand that they are receiving. And that also will allow them to be deployed on the edge devices or on IoT devices, and will allow them to capture all the information, all the events that they are happening on those type of devices. Also, as part of our hybrid integration platform offering, we have the ability to build integration application as part of the cloud itself. So we are talking to some of the customers that we have. They want to do their integration as part of the web browser. So they have those two maybe systems available in the cloud, where business users, where maybe the business users or the business admins wants to do such type of integration. Those people, they don't want to talk to their IT people. They don't want to talk to maybe integration specialist person in order to do such type of integration. They believe that the integration that they want to do is something very simple. Maybe they only want to integrate Salesforce with Microsoft Dynamics, or their Salesforce with their HR system. So in such type of integration, we are talking about a very small type of integration, where maybe system admins, that they can do such type of services on as a self-service capability as part of the tool that we have. And this is where we use our cloud offering. If we are talking more about the product names that we have, so here we highlight in this slide the name of the products that we have. So if we have our TIBCO Business Works, which is the main application that we use to do support and serve all the integration scenarios that we want to build as part of our infrastructure. We also have our container edition of that software that will allow us to deploy this type of application in any container orchestration platforms, whether we are talking about Kubernetes or Kubernetes as a service from Azure or Kubernetes as a service from Microsoft or from Google or from anyone. So that's the type of things that we were working on for the last couple of years. And our offering for our customers nowadays, we are talking about a mature offering. This is not something young or still in the beta version. This has been deployed in the customer sites before a couple of years. So we are talking about customers like T-Mobile in the US and the US Bank in the US. Some of the biggest customers that we have in the US, they are running those type of tools since 2017. And TIBCO was always innovating and adding more capabilities and adding more features to the tools that we are providing for our customers. And the thing that we have today is really stable and provide the best capability that you might be thinking of. And once you build your services, once you expose your services and you want them to be consumed, you can expose them to an API management layer. So maybe you can expose them to TIBCO Mashry API management layer, which is one of the great tools available in the market when it comes to API management capabilities. Or you can allow your internal applications to access those APIs that we are exposing as part of the hybrid integration platform that we are providing here. And in this slide, we can see the typical BusinessWorks that we are talking about. We can see some of the nice features and the great features that we have as part of the tool. We can see how is it simple to use this type of tools that we are talking about. And if you look at it, this is what we were using for the last 20 years, as I said. And this is what we were always focusing on. The main things that TIBCO was focusing on for the last 2 decades is how they can make their offering much more simple and how they can make the time to market much more faster and quicker. So they want their customers to be able to build services and expose services and deploy new services to their infrastructure very quickly and very fast. And as you can see in the video that we see in this slide, how is it easy that we use, how is it easy to use the tool that we are building? How is it easy to support it and manage it from the support and operation perspective, and how you can do at any point of time. You can see the transactions that happened. You can see what was the input, what was the output for all the activities that you have as part of your transactions. And in this slide, we can see from a development perspective, how is it easy to debug the services that you are building. First of all the things that we do as part of our solutions, there's no need to write code. So it's zero code. It's literally zero code. We don't see customers who are writing code, even though we provide the ability for some of our customers who wants to go the code way, who wants to implement maybe some part of the solution that they are building in a code way. We allow them to use Java to build such type of solutions as part of the solution that they are building. However, in most of the scenarios that we are building, in most of our engagement with the customers that we have in this region and worldwide as well, the customers that we have, they are not using code at all, and they build all the services that they are building as part of the declarative UI, where all the work can be done by drag and drop capabilities as part of the visualization tool that we have. And the designer that we have here is an Eclipse-based designer. So most of the Java developers are familiar with such type of designer that we are talking about, or such type of IDE that we are talking about. And in this slide, as you can see, we provide a very simple way for our developers to test their services before they deploy them to the test environment or the pre-production environment or their production environment. We provide them with all the capabilities that they want to have as part of, to make sure that the services that they are building provide the expectation that we are looking after, and we allow them to maybe apply a breakpoint at any point of time and see what came into that activity, what was the output for that activity. And at any point of time, if they found out that they want to update the logic that they have here, or they want to do some changes at the email that they are sending for the customer, or they want to change the input that they are sending for specific system, whether it's an API or whether it's a REST service or whether whatever system it is, if they want to do any type of changes, we allow them to apply the changes. And as soon as they save it, the tool itself will push a new deployment for that service to the runtime environment, and will allow them to continue with the testing and the debugging that they have in place. And if you look at that, this will allow them to provide continuous development and continuous debugging, and it will make sure that they can do things much more faster. And nowadays in the market, we've seen a lot of people are asking for a REST service, and the REST service have a special the way how we do it as part of TIBCO is something very special. So we allow you to expose your service as a REST service very quickly, literally in less than 1 minute. It's only about three wizards that you need to visit, where you specify the input and the output that you are expecting, and the service will be built for you, and you can share it with your customer. And as soon as you build your REST service, you can also see the Swagger documentation that will be auto-generated for you. So as part of the tool, we provide Swagger documentation that can be auto-generated. So as soon as you update the input or the output for the service that you are building the Swagger interface will be generated for you, and you can test your service by going to the Swagger interface URL, and you can see all the operations that you are exposing. You can see what was the input. Well, you can see what is the expected input that you can push, what's the expected output. So there is no need to maybe install and download any other tool. We only want you to focus in the business logic that you are building. And this service is something very important. A lot of people are asking for REST services. We have seen a lot of shift from web services to REST services. And that's what TIBCO is focusing on. We want to make sure that we provide what the customer is asking for. And we started hearing that maybe web services will be something of the past because everyone is moving to REST services. And this is what TIBCO is doing and working on hard. And also, as part of the REST services that we are building, or maybe a web services that we are building, we provide different modeling approach in order to build the services that you are building. So we provide the top-down approach or the bottom-up approach. So when we talk, for example, about a web service, we allow you to start from the WSDL file itself, and what are the operations that you have. Once you have the WSDL, you can build the service that you have. Or maybe if you have the services, we allow you to expose them and build the WSDL for them. The same thing when it comes to REST APIs that we are talking about. So if you already have the services and you want to expose them, you can expose them as a REST APIs. If you have the JSON documentation for your REST APIs and you want to build the services based on that, we also support that as well. So that will make your life much more easier, and that will help you focus in the business logic that you are trying to build and implement, and to provide the best services that you want to provide for your customer. And also one of the nice features that we have also here, so by default, REST service, the output, the response for the REST services needs to be as maybe JSON. However, as part of our platform, we provide you with the ability to expose the the response format to be as XML format or as a JSON format, or maybe you can expose both of them. And when the client wants to consume your service, he decides as part of the input what type of outputs he needs to receive. So if I call your service, I'll say, I need to get a JSON response, or I need to get an XML response. And I will take care of how I'll process the response that I'll get from your end. And all of that will be done in the back end. So as a service provider, you don't need to worry about it. You only need to check this checkbox that we have here, and the tool itself will do the right rendering and will provide the right response for your service that you are looking after. And also some of the great feature that we have as part of the tool also is a unit testing capability. So we provide a rich set of capabilities in order to help you do some sort of unit testing for the services that you are building. So you can specify you can specify a markup input for the services that you are building, and you can apply some sort of assertions on the output of each activity that you are building in the solution that you have. We help you also as part of the tool. We help you to run all those test cases that we have as part of a visual debugging perspective. So you can see exactly what's going on. If there's an error, you can stop in that error and see why it happened. So that will help you fix the issue that you have very quickly. And also one of the nice features that we have as part of the product, we have built a specific Maven plugin that can only integrate with the BusinessWorks application that we are building. So you can call this Maven plugin from outside the application. So that will help you when you are building the CI/CD pipeline that we should build as part of our solution. So you can easily your unit testing, you can easily do your performance testing, your stress testing. You can make sure that your services are really working before you push your services to your production environment. And part of the Maven plugin that we are building, we allow you to deploy your services as a developer from this IDE to container platform. So there's no need for you at this point of time to maybe use another tool, use Jenkins or use Docker commands in order to deploy your services to Docker. You can also deploy it to Kubernetes-based application, whether we are talking about Kubernetes itself or whether we are talking about Kubernetes-based application like maybe OpenShift, for example. With the tool itself here, we will be able to create a Docker using this Maven plugin, build a Docker image and deploy it straightforward on those platforms and those container orchestration platforms, and test the services that we are building from over there and making sure that the services are really working as we are expecting. If the tool also allows us to generate HTML reports. So as part of our testing, we might do multiple testing. We might do multiple version of testing. So at any point of time, we will be able to generate HTML reports. We can refer back to those HTML reports and see exactly what passed, what didn't pass. And as soon as we feel comfortable about the solution that we are building, we can push it to the next environment where we want to push our solution. And another great feature that we also support as part of our platform, the way how we will help you build CI/CD pipeline. And CI/CD pipeline is one of the trends that we started seeing in the market. Everyone is talking about CI/CD pipeline. Everyone wants to build his own CI/CD pipeline. And when you ask them, why do you want to have CI/CD pipeline? I got a nice answer from one of the customers that we have in this region. They were saying that they want to build their CI/CD pipeline because they want to be able to find a bug in the morning and have a fix for it in the afternoon in their production environment. And that's really great, great vision that they have, because if they really have the right CI/CD tools, if they really have the right integration platform that they are working on, definitely they will be able to reach that steps. And that's what TIBCO has in mind. They want all the customers that they are working with them to be able to find a bug in their production environment and apply a fix for it and test it, deploy it to the different environments that they have, and ultimately deploy it to their production as soon as possible. So what we are talking about here, we provide as an integration platform provider, we provide all the capabilities that you might need in order to build your custom CI/CD pipeline. So you can do all the testing that you want to do as part of the CI/CD pipeline. You can automate the generation of the way how you build the service that you want to deploy and push to as part of the CI/CD pipeline. We allows you to test the quality of the services that you are building. So we allows you to test the quality of the code. And we support multiple DevOps teams available in the market as part of that. So you will not have issues if you decide to work with a specific DevOps tool available in the market, because we have a very rich set of DevOps tools that we are supporting. And if you go to the URL where we have github.com under TIBCO software, you will find a very rich set of DevOps tools that we are providing for all our customers. We provide some templates, we provide some examples on how you use those type of DevOps tools as part of your solution that you are building on. So that will make sure that you have the best that will help you make sure that you always have the best CI/CD pipeline, and will help you always customize your CI/CD pipeline in order to provide the best capability that you are looking after. Another great feature that we also have as part of our integration platform, which is BusinessWorks. That's the core integration platform. We also have we have a new flavor of it, where we have container edition version. And the container edition version will allow you to build cloud native applications. So the solution that you are building will be cloud native application. You will be able to deploy such type of solution wherever you want, whether you want to deploy them in a container orchestration platforms, whether you want to deploy them in an operating system as part of virtual machine or a physical machine, or you can even go to TIBCO public cloud, where you can visit it by going to cloud.tibco.com and deploy the services that you are looking after. And the vision that TIBCO has in mind, they want their customers to use their Eclipse version, the designer version that they have, to build all the integration scenarios that they have. And as soon as they build their integration scenarios and their integration services, they can deploy those services wherever they want. So they can deploy them on a premise, they can deploy them in a container orchestration platforms, or they can deploy them to the public cloud that we have as part of TIBCO. As I said, they can visit it by going to cloud.tibco.com. And this is really great feature that we allows our customer to build their integration scenarios one time and being able to deploy them anywhere based on their cloud journey. So as I said maybe at the beginning of my presentation, we have this container orchestration platform conversation with all the customers that we have. However, we see a lot of hesitation when it comes to deployment from the customers that we have. So most of the customers that we have, they talk to us about container orchestration platform, and they talk to us that they want to deploy their solution in a container orchestration platforms. However, they feel a little bit that they want maybe to delay such type of steps maybe for a year or two till they have the right setup until they decide with which container orchestration platform they want to go. However, they start working with us and they started building their integration services, and they started deploying those type of services on their virtual machines or on their physical machine directly. And the nice thing for our capabilities that as part of the solution that you are building, at any point of time, If you want to move the services that you have built, you want to move them to container orchestration platform, all what you have to do is open the application and make it and change the deployment endpoint and make it more compatible with the cloud native application. So we will provide you in that way with a cloud native application that you can build and deploy in a container orchestration platform. Also with the same tool that maybe as a customer, you don't want to go to the cloud, you don't want to go to the public cloud. However, you don't know what might happen after 5 years. Maybe you will find it's much more cost effective if you shut down your physical machine, so you don't acquire a new hardware, you don't upgrade your operating system, you don't have those people who are supporting your environment. You can do all of that by maybe pushing the services that you are building and push them to the public cloud that we have as part of TIBCO. And you can move the whole investment that you have already implemented and push it to the public cloud that we have. And this is, I believe, one of the great features that we have, because we know the customer pain, we know from where the customer is coming, we know where the customer is trying to go. We are talking about an integration platform that will live for at least for a decade or maybe more. So the integration platform that we are working on will really help you to serve all those use cases that you have in mind. So, and we have seen some of the customers that we are working with in this region, they are deploying the services that they are building as part of our integration platform. They are deploying some of those services on a premise, some of those services in OpenShift, some of those services they are using maybe Kubernetes as a service from AWS or from Azure or maybe from Google Cloud. So you will never be locked. That's the nice thing. This is the word that maybe a lot of customers that they were looking after. They don't want to have some sort of limitations that the integration platform that they are using can only work on Azure Kubernetes, or it can only work in Kubernetes as a service from AWS, or it can only work in OpenShift. The customers, they want to have the flexibility. They would like to have a choice of where they want to go. They don't want to be limited. They don't want the vendor to give them a hard time. So, and this is what exactly TIBCO has in mind. TIBCO has been always neutral since the beginning. So we were always supporting different operating systems. So you can install our tool wherever you want. So we almost support all the commercial operating systems available in the market. We almost support all the container orchestrations platforms available in the market. So that will give you a lot of assurance that you are partnering with the right vendor. You will never have a hard time going forward. So you can easily switch from this vendor to the other vendor. If, for example, we are using Kubernetes as a service from Azure, and those people, they've decided to do some changes in the tool, some quick changes where they've asked their people to quickly upgrade to the next version, maybe as a customer, maybe as a service provider, maybe as a people who are utilizing and using that endpoint and that infrastructure. You are not ready. You need maybe additional time for that. So you can easily switch from this vendor to the other vendor, because we all know that all those vendors are new. And we don't know with which vendor we will feel comfortable. So that's why we are giving our customers a lot of options so they can select one of them. And I was talking to the product manager and I was asking him about the number of versions that we are supporting. He told me that they are supporting more than 50 different versions when it comes to container orchestration platforms. So that will give you a huge assurance that you will have enough time to go to the next version once you are using our technology. And when we talk about a cloud native application, we are talking about a lot of features that needs to be available as part of the tool. So we have seen a lot of maybe vendors, they are claiming that they their tool can be deployed in a container orchestration platform. But then you ask them about what they are doing with the configuration management, which tool they are supporting, what they are doing with the service discovery and service registration, what they are doing with circuit breakers patterns, what they are doing with open tracing, which is those new projects that we started seeing coming out from Kubernetes. So they don't have an answer because they are new to that field. They were unable to add additional capabilities for their infrastructure. And because TIBCO started this journey a little earlier, so we started before anyone else in the market. So we started working on this in 2015. And prior to that, also, I was saying that people, they were talking about microservices in early 2012, 2011. That's why when TIBCO, they started changing the whole architecture for their business work application in order to be aligned with the microservices and being able to run in any devices, in any machine. And their main focus was how they can make their services and their runtime environment smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's what they are doing nowadays. And as out of the box, they support all those cloud native capabilities that we see in this screen. So when it comes to configuration management, when you deploy your application to a container orchestration platform, you need a place where you want to save your configuration. So what database you are connecting to, what ERP system that you are connecting to as part of the services that you are building. So you need to save those configurations somewhere. And we provide you with the different options. So you can always, you will not be limited from TIBCO perspective. Maybe you will have some sort of limitation from other applications that you have where you want to deploy them in those type of infrastructure. But from TIBCO perspective, you will be in safe hands and you will have multiple options. And as a technology provider, as soon as TIBCO find a new configuration management tool available in the market, and they have seen that some customers, they started asking for it, they will go and they will start supporting those type of configuration management. The same thing also when it comes for service discovery and service registration. So we provide our customers with a lot of options. So here are some of the tools that we are supporting when it comes to service discovery and service registration. So we support Curica, we support Console, we support Kubernetes DNS, and we have so many options that we provide for our customer. The same thing also applicable when it comes to circuit breaker patterns. So you don't, nowadays, when we talk about microservices and when we talk about the services that we are deploying in a container orchestration platform, we need to have such type of circuit breaker patterns as part of our solutions. And maybe Netflix is one of those people who have a huge implementation for circuit breakers. And the nice thing about our offering, we don't want you to worry about installing maybe circuit breakers library as part of your integration processes. The libraries, all the libraries that we are talking about here, they come embedded. So there is no need for you to go and find out which jar file I need to install, which jar file I need to embed as part of the solution, as part of the implications that I'm pushing to my production environment. All those type of libraries will be available as part of the same tool that we are talking about. And also, once you deploy your services to production environment, whether you want to deploy them in an operating system directly, or whether you want to deploy them on container orchestration platform, you need to find out what's going on in your services. So you need to find out maybe what services has worked, what services experiencing some delays, what services maybe throw some sort of exceptions and error. So as part of our framework, we have something called BusinessWorks monitoring, where you can access it by going to a URL, whether by accessing specific URL. And once you go to that URL, you can minimize the window, the time window that we are talking about. Maybe you need to see the transaction that came from maybe 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock. So you will have specific results that will come out. Maybe you are only looking for the transaction that they have filled. So you can click on those transactions, and in the right side menu, you can see more details about those transactions. And if you have sub-processes as part of your solution, you can click on those sub-processes and you can drill down on those sub-processes and see exactly what happened in those sub-processes. And also you can click on any activity that you might have as part of your work, of your flow, and you can see what was the input, what was the output that you have received as part of this activity. You can even also see what's the configuration that you have applied as part of this activity. And for the people who are working in support and operation, this is extremely helpful for them. They will get a huge value when they have access to such features and such capabilities, because that will let them do most of the work without they wait for their developers, without they work for the people who build the service to come up with an answer about what they have done with that specific service or with that specific process that they are building. So this is one of the nice thing. This is one of the nice offering that comes out of the box with the tool itself. So we have BusinessWorks monitoring. However, we are talking to our customers, and some of our customers that we have, they have their own monitoring application that they are using across all their infrastructure. So they deploy their Java application, all the logging for their Java application, all the logging for their integration applications, all the logging for their portal application comes to a centralized logging application, whether we are talking about open tracing, whether we are talking about maybe Splunk or Elasticsearch. So if you decide to go that way, we also support all those monitoring solutions that we have in place. And here we can see some of those external, some of the options that we have when it comes to monitoring. So we have BusinessWorks monitoring or BWCE monitoring. And this is, as I said, this is available whether you want to deploy your services on a premise or virtual machine directly in the operating system, or if you want to deploy it on a container orchestration platform. This will be only limited, so you can only see what happened exactly in TIBCO perspective. However, if you are using other tool like maybe Elasticsearch or Jaeger or maybe Grafana, so we also can push all the logging information and push them to that type of infrastructure of that maybe some of the customers would like to go that way. The other great feature that we also have as part of our offering, we have something called Hawk. And Hawk basically will allow you to monitor your services that you deploy in your production environment. So we understand that as a customer, you don't want someone to sit in front of the computer 24/7 and find out which worked, which didn't work, which service throw an error, which service has some delay, which service has some issues. So as part of the Hawk that we have, we allow you to apply your monitoring applications. So you can apply your monitoring rules. So you can build your monitoring rules that you want to monitor. Maybe if you want to monitor if the service is up and running, maybe you want to monitor if one of the services have some delay, so people, they wait maybe a minute or two or maybe more before they get their response back. Or maybe you want to monitor if external application like a web service or maybe a database is working or not working. So TIBCO Hawk will provide you with all those capabilities that we are talking about. And once we find an issue, we allow you to apply an action on that issue. So maybe, sorry, this slide is about the scheduler, how we can link the monitoring rule that we are building to a scheduler. So maybe we have a scheduler that runs from a specific time to other specific time, or maybe we want to schedule the monitoring rule only to work in the weekend, or maybe from 8 o'clock in the morning till maybe 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. We apply such type of rules, maybe that runs every 5 minutes or every 2 minutes. So this is what we have as part of the scheduler. And as soon as we find an issue, we can decide in the action. So the tool itself will help you maybe restart the service that has some issues, or maybe the tool itself will help you push an action, push a notification by email, or maybe you can push it to the dashboard that we have as part of the tool, or maybe you can push it to SMS as SMS messages that will reach the administrator, so the administrator can take an action. So this is one of the great features that we have. Also, as part of our hybrid integration platform offering, we have something called Flogo. And Flogo is another great innovation that TIBCO was working on for the last couple of years. So basically, it provides a lightweight integration engine or platform that provides the ability to build application integration and event-driven microservices as part of the browser without the need to leave the browser itself. It comes with different features and capabilities. Some of the features that we always like to highlight when we talk about Flogo is that Flogo is a very lightweight, which can make it very possible to deploy it anywhere, whether we want to deploy it on edge devices, IoT devices, container orchestration platform, or anywhere. It also provides the ability to build event-driven architecture patterns using a modern technology stack and expose services in different modern protocols, such as GraphQL and REST and gRPC and other protocols that we started seeing some demands for such protocols in this market that we are living in. Also, another great feature that we have as part of Flogo is as part of Flogo comes embedded with the machine learning capabilities, where you can embed machine learning model as part of the integration scenario that you have, and you can deploy it on the edge devices, the IoT devices. So all the aggregation can happen on the device itself without the need to push the data back to the server or maybe to your data center and maybe take the right action at that point of time. And in this slide, we can see a screenshot of how Flogo UI looks like. It's available as part of the web browser itself with all the capabilities that you may need to use, including development, applying transformation logic in order to do the integration scenario that you want to build. It helps you also deploy your services from the screen itself. And as I said, we're using Flogo, you can deploy your services anywhere. So you can deploy it on a premise and directly into operating system that you may have. You can push it to a container orchestration platform. You can push it to serverless functions available from different public cloud providers. You can push it to IoT devices as well. And when we talk about use cases, we have really a huge number of use cases where TIBCO hybrid integration platform was successfully implemented. And I was confused which use case maybe I can present to you guys. And I just thought maybe with the T-Mobile use case where we have used TIBCO integration platform, TIBCO hybrid integration platform to facilitate all the integration that they are looking after and build all the integration that they wanted to build. And T-Mobile is one of the old TIBCO customers that we have, and they keep evolving with us with all the new innovation that we are using. And I remember that before 2 years when they launched the iPhone 8, the CTO wasn't available on site. He usually used to be available inside with any event that T-Mobile was planning to do. But when they started using TIBCO hybrid integration platform, he was in a different conference, attending a different conference, and he was talking about something else. And he was feeling very comfortable that the launch of iPhone will happen successfully without he needs to worry about the technical details that the technical people they might have. So that's what I have for my presentation today. I'm done, I think, from the presentation perspective. Maybe now we will be able to take the question that you may have.
Yes, thank you very much, Osama. We really appreciate that thorough run through of your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a few minutes remaining, so I invite you to type your questions in the Zoom question box, which you will find in the control panel below. And I will ask Osama the questions on your behalf. We do have approximately 65% plus more participants. So I will take the first few questions, and those questions that don't get answered in the time remaining will be addressed to Osama Mohsin. We will share his email address with you. You will also see it on the screen in front of you as we speak. So that's osama@bahwancybertech.com. And we will get these answered to you post this webinar. There will also be a emailer to follow, which would share a little bit more information, and you're most welcome then to send your questions through that as a response. So I do have a few questions already that have come in from our audience. Osama, the first question for you is from a gentleman by the name of Ahmed, and he says, how do you monitor the deployment services if a service gets an error or if a service stops working?
Yeah, as highlighted, this is a great feature. Thank you, Ahmed. As highlighted with the presentation, we have a product called Hawk. So Hawk has been TIBCO. They were always having this Hawk application as part of their platform. Hawk will allows you to build monitoring rules that you would like to apply in the services that you are building. So you can attach the rule that you are building to the different services that you have. So as soon as an error happened for the services that you have in your production, for example, a service get an error, maybe because the database wasn't available, or maybe because a third-party application wasn't available at that point of time, or maybe there was a network issue at that point of time. So this type of monitoring rule will be able to capture such type of errors. You can also specify the action that you would like to take once the monitoring rule finds such type of error, and maybe you can send an email based on that, or maybe you can, the Hawk rule also, maybe you can restart the service itself. Maybe it can restart the service 3 times, and if the same errors keep coming, you can be notified by email if you want to reduce the number of emails that you are receiving from such rule. So the nice thing about this Hawk application, it's very flexible and very dynamic. So you can build the Hawk rule based on the need that you have. So we have some services that we might have in our production environment that we need to monitor them every minute. Those are very critical services. On the other side, we are expecting a file to come at 5 o'clock in the morning. If the file doesn't come, what we will do, this is a very important file. We are expecting it to at 5 o'clock. So if it doesn't come by 5, if it doesn't come by 6, that means that the service is not running. So we want to make sure that we receive an alert before that time, before the business user come to the office and they're starting working in the result of this file. So that's what we do as part of the monitoring solution that we have.
Excellent, thank you very much. The next question comes from Bhaskar. What container orchestration platforms can TIBCO integration platform be deployed in?
Yes, this is also another great feature that we have as part of our platform. So we support multiple container orchestration platforms. We are not limited. We have seen a lot of integration providers in the market where they only limit their customers to use specific container orchestration platforms. We don't do that as part of TIBCO. This is the same principle that TIBCO took when they started working in the operating system. So we always support multiple operating systems. We always support multiple databases. We always support multiple container orchestration platforms. So we almost support all the container orchestration platforms available in the market without any limitation.
Excellent, thank you. The next question is from Mr. Faisal. Do you have a trial version of the product that we can try?
Yes, definitely. So now if you go to TIBCO.com, if you search for BusinessWorks, you will be able to download the product and you will have 60 days trial version. So you can try the product in those 60 days. And what we want to add here is, as a service provider, we want to work with you in this journey. So if you have any interest to download and do some work in the tool itself, reach out to us and definitely we will help you out with this. So we will let you download the product very quickly. We will maybe build the process, the integration processes that you would like to build in a very short time. So you can easily observe the nice features that we have in the product, and that will let you see why we are different than others, why we are might be the best integration provider when it comes to application integration.
Thank you. The next question is from Tusif. How about AR and VR application integration?
AR, so we have a very rich set of adapters and connectors, and TIBCO, they always add multiple sets of adapters and connectors to our to most of the commercial applications that we have in the market. However, we see sometimes that maybe we don't have that specific adapters that the customer is asking for. What we do, maybe the endpoint, maybe the AVR system that we would like to connect to, maybe it's already has some APIs that we can consume, or maybe REST services, web services. So maybe that's one of the options that we can do. We also have the adapter SDK that will allow us build connectors from scratch, so we can build those connectors together and start using those type of connectors in order to integrate with those systems that where we might not have an adapter for them.
Okay, thank you. The next question is coming from Hari Krishna. Is TIBCO Cloud Integration Tool available in market, and are any clients using it?
Yes, definitely. So as I said, T-Mobile is one of the customers that we have. We have a lot of customers actually worldwide, in this region and worldwide. And before we mention the name of the customer, we always want to make sure that we can highlight the name of the customers and the customer doesn't have any objection in order to share his name. So some of the customers that we have is maybe T-Mobile, US Bank, Telkomsel that we have in Indonesia. We have also some customers that we have in this region. Maybe work with us, reach out to us, let's have maybe a private conversation. Then we can also highlight all the nice features that we have as part of our cloud offering. Or maybe, L'Oreal, I'm not sure if we will have another session in the future where we will talk about our cloud offering and maybe highlight some of the great features when it comes to cloud.tibco.com.
Yes, absolutely. We will definitely arrange that. I think it's a very hot topic at the moment, and we have so much to offer in terms of our products and solutions, especially as one of the leaders in the market globally. So we'll definitely set up a session for that. Osama, just a follow-up question from Hari Krishna. Do we have GUI interface in TIBCO Cloud Integration Tool to monitor TIBCO services in runtime?
Yes, we do have. We do have we have an APIs that we can consume. So those APIs, maybe we can include them as part of our CI/CD pipeline in order to monitor if the services are working or not. We've seen the BusinessWorks monitoring, which is available in one of the slides that we've seen here. So this one is available in the cloud, it's available in a container edition, it's available on a premise, it's available everywhere. So you can always see it as part of the integration processes that you are building.
Excellent, thank you. Our next question comes from Mamoyed. Does TIBCO integration support the EDI format?
Yes, we do. So yeah, guys, I want you just to understand that the webinar that we have to do today is only for maybe 1 hour. If we want to talk about our portfolio, I think we are talking about 2-3 days on maybe to capture and highlight all the nice features that we have as part of our portfolio. So as part of TIBCO, we have a product called TIBCO Business TIBCO Business TIBCO business, I forget the name, TIBCO ADI. So where we support all the different ADIs protocols that you might have, that you might need to implement. So we have a lot of customers in this region as well. We have some of the banking customers in this region who are using our product in order to facilitate all the P2P transactions that they want to build.
Excellent, thank you. I'm going to take another 2 questions. Both of them are from Farouk. So the first question from Farouk is, what algorithms are used in this hybrid approach? How can we get KPIs with respect to data?
With the KPIs that we are talking about, we always look at them from the monitoring perspective. So we allows you to monitor your services and see maybe, for example, you are expecting the response to come within 30 seconds. You are expecting a response to come within 5 seconds. If the response doesn't come within that time frame, you want to get an error. You want to get an alert. So we allows you to monitor those rules that you are building as part of your solution. So this is basically what we are doing as part of our monitoring solution that we provide.
Right, and the last question from Farouk is, how does the real-time data get managed, and how long will it store the data? I mean, volatile data, does it remain there? Can the data be used by others as well?
So we provide you with the integration platform. We provide you with a very flexible tool that you can manage. You can decide how you want to save the data, at what point you want to save the data. So there is no need to save the data. So we don't recommend maybe saving the data. However, as part of the monitoring, maybe at some points you want to save the data that comes to the transaction data that we receive. So you can decide for how long you want to save the data. There are some rules that you can apply. Maybe you can only save the data for 1 month or 2 months, or maybe you can, after that, you need to archive it. So this is part of the operational work that you need to do at the back end in order. If you have a huge database that can accommodate all the transactions that we are receiving, you can do that, there's no problem. And one of the nice features that we have also, for the data that comes by default, we don't save the transaction data. If you want to save the transaction data, that will be one of the check boxes that you will enable. So if we see the transaction that we have here, this is our screen. If we go up in this web page, we will see a checkbox where we can enable. If we enable it, we will save this transaction data. If we disable it, the transaction data will not be saved. Usually we disable the transaction data because we don't want to have, especially if we are talking about thousands of transactions, sometimes per hour or per minute. So you will end up having a huge number of data. So you don't want to save all that data. Usually customers that we are working with, they enable these capabilities at specific point of time. So if they are expecting maybe some issues, some errors, they enable these data to be saved so they can look at it. And as soon as they identify the issue, they just maybe remove the data. There's no need to save the data.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Osama. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Osama, is there anything you want to close off as part of your wrap-up?
Yeah, I think it was a great session. We received a very great questions from the different audience that we have today. I think today is the beginning. Let's have a continuous conversation with the people who shared their questions, and also for the people who didn't share any question, we encourage them to share the questions that they have with us, and maybe we have sessions after these sessions with them, maybe one-to-one session, or maybe if there's any specific topics that you guys are looking after, please reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to share with you our experience when it comes to application integration.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Osama. I would just like to add to that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have you on board with us during this session. I see a number of other questions are still coming through based on this particular topic. As Osama and I have already mentioned, please, on the screen in front of you, you will see Osama's email address. We do invite you and encourage you to answer or ask rather any questions that you would like us to answer. And if you would like to book a one-on-one session directly with Osama or any one of our experts with regards to this topic or any digital transformation topic you might have at present, please do go ahead and connect with us. We also have our social media platforms that you can continuously assess and access information from us that we will be sharing some very relevant topics over the next couple of weeks that might really empower your digital transformation. So please do jump on board with our social media applications or contact us directly through marketing or directly to Osama. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our session. Thank you for joining the Bahwan Cybertech TIBCO webinar today. And we do look forward to sharing a number of very relevant and transformative topics with you in our upcoming webinar series throughout May, June, and July.